Shalom, family. Shalom. Glory be to God, and blessed be the Lamb forever and ever and forevermore. I've been struggling with what I wanted to talk about for the last couple of days. On one side of me, I want to talk about bones and bells. On the other side, I want to talk about about the word and the meaning and the characteristics of destabilization. I wonder if we could find a segue from bones and bells into destabilization. It's going to be hard, so I'm not going to even attempt it. We'll just go on straight to destabilization. We'll talk about that, about bells as a preliminary. As a matter of fact, let's do that right now. If you're my age or slightly younger, you grew up with bells, all kinds of bells. The phone ringing, the church bells, wedding bells, all kinds of bells. The bells at the store counter or the meat market or the corner market, bells. Now, let me ask you a question. What happened to all the bells? Where are all of the bells? When was the last time any of you heard a bell? Oh, you've heard beeps, chirps, electronic music chimes made as your ringtone. But why are there no more bells? Did you know that in every state capital, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that was a bell. Now, if you look up bells, state bells, city bells, you're going to find that most of these bells had been cracked before they had been permanently removed. So who would who who would crack the bells? Why the hell did they find it necessary to go through the states and with a sledgehammer, seems to be, crack all of the bells? Think about that a minute. Why are there no more bells? Are bells harmful, maybe? Are they detrimental? Maybe to one's mental health. Maybe to the human psyche, which might explain why the hell Generation X is half crazy, because we grew up around bells. Lots of bells. Friday night bells, Catholic church bells, Sundays, wedding bells at least every other year. Shit. Some places they even had other bells at the damn funeral as you walk in, or like you ding, and the rest of it. What the hell? I'm not ringing this bell inside this funeral home. I don't know why that's there. Anyway, it's getting dark already. But here's my point. Where's the bells? Does anyone know? They don't even have a bell on your phone. What did Marbell do to anyone? How the hell could the ringing of a bell or annoy something or someone to the point that every bell in the United States has to go? You don't find that a little bit unnatural? Did they just disappear? Oh, okay. I'll bite. Maybe they disappeared when the cell phones came and they had all of the other beeps and chirps and chimes and jingles. But that would only explain the cell phone. Now, but you would be right. It would be right about the time The last of the bells would leave right about the time cell phones came because we were hearing Catholic church bells, I mean church bells, all the way up until that point. But the really big state house bells, big church bells that were ring every Sunday, and the state house bells two, three times a month. Back in the Gap, the damn bells were ring every hour, every hour. That was one bell for hour one, two dings for hour two, three for hour three, four for hour four. It will let everyone know what time it is by the bell or what hour of the day. Where did all of the bells go? Where did all of the bells go? And why? Bells don't just crack, and they don't, most certainly, do not bury themselves. Some of these bells, this is some obsessive hatred with bells. They buried the bell. First they broke it, and then they buried it. They are obsessed. Oh, man. Anyway, why do you think they got rid of the bells? Why? It was because of the frequency and the vibration. Okay? Certain things upon this planet don't like certain frequencies and vibration, especially gyrating frequencies and vibration. Some of these things are not even human. What you see of them is basically a damn camouflage. So the bells would break up their camouflage, so to speak. It would break up the camouflage. So, and the frequencies are the same thing. It's like you never understanding. All of a sudden, there's a rash of, of bar shootings, a rash of club shootings, and the police and the detectives and the best of them cannot see the obvious. What do all of the shootings have in common once you get past the suspects and there is no reference to each other? None. But you will have six shootings in one summer scattered throughout the state, or the nation. Think about that. 10 dead here, 12 dead here. Shit, the world record is in this country for 65 dead. No, I may be wrong. Somebody topped somebody in a week, I think, with over 100 dead at an Islamic wedding. At any rate, at any rate, who would want this? And think, because someone has to want it. Things don't just happen randomly. No, there's no random order involved. Think of it this way. If it's like I asked earlier, what do all of the shootings have in common? Now I ran my mouth down the extra 40 seconds to give you a chance to think. All right, they have what? Frequencies, loud music in different frequencies, and flashing lights. That's what they all have in common. If you want to toss in alcohol and some outdoor parking lot drug action, but that's as far as it goes. So that would lead you to think that it is the frequencies themselves that the people have been programmed to be activated, for lack of a better words, to go off at that point. Just to think about it. Now let's move on. That was just preliminary. Give you something to think about later. I want you to think about this one: destabilization. Destabilization. See, early on, Even though I am a political animal and know what these terms mean, when you experience it or you witness it up close, then it doesn't seem the same. It's only when you step back do you see the program as opposed to the many the different actions or non-actions that the fucking program can make. We get caught up in the individual actions. See, I don't anymore. I see the whole thing. Okay? So think about this. In 2012, I was involved in or the victim, but I don't like that word because I'm no one's a victim. When I am a victim, it's more like camouflage. It's meant to look that way. But you had best to believe I am no one's victim. It doesn't work for me anymore, though. The world is well on to it. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Destabilization. First at the family level or the individual level, and then if possible, the family level. If possible, then a city level or the neighborhood level or the national level. What I uh, While I was thinking about all of that, that's when I seen it. That's when I seen that the whole of America is under a destabilization program. It would never allow itself to become natural. It must be coerced. It must be conditioned, like farm animals. Like farm animals. I hate to be the one to use such terms, but I can see now while there are some in the community, the national community, that look at humans as if they're farm animals. Because who can argue? They sometimes act like it. They're docile. Whatever happens, happens. All their lives are lived by a set pattern. But I'm way off topic. I'm way off on the topic. Destabilization. So what happens when you are destabilized? Well, first you have to be stable. First, a country of a victim rather has to be stable. Okay? Stable. Meaning that psychologically, mentally, and physically, and emotionally and financially, outside of being abjectly rich or either impoverished beyond poor, you could still be stable. It's more of an attempt to destabilize the psychological mindsets of the victim of the population. Nothing would be beyond that because it doesn't have to go beyond that. They'll start to act their own role and their own part if you create certain stimuli in their lives. Ain't that sad? That out of a million people, not one is capable of so much as man even breaking free. But think of it as this way also. Every CIA strategy, every CIA tactic that they have used in foreign lands, they have also used right here amongst its own people. That's a fact. Every last one of them. Should not they be executed? I'm just saying. That's just me. I'm saying hunt them down and fucking interrogate them and then execute them outright. I have no problem with things like that. It's like with me, you are inviting certain people into your home or to in this instance, like in America, as in Netanyahu, so daring anyone to say anything to him or dare to place him under authority while he has open warrants, as he has open warrants, international warrants for his arrest. Well, let me say this to a man of such as himself. If I ever catch a man such as himself around me, he's guaranteed at least a couple of things. Hey, I'm gonna beat him up, and I'm gonna tie him up, and I'm gonna call the police. Those three things are gonna happen in his life unless he can stop me. Okay? I have no choice. I have no choice. If the man has an open warrant, the man is killing thousands, thousands. So don't expect me to follow such proclamations, no matter where they came from, ever. He is nothing to me, absolutely nothing. Was nothing yesterday and the day before that and the day before that and the day before that. But in your world, he's a leader of a nation state. I say, in my world, he's a gangster and the leader of a rogue, a gangster, murderous ass nation. There is absolutely no reason I should respect him or his nation folk. Not at all. Zero. That's besides the point two. Destabilization. We watched it in America, especially black folk. Oh, they are expert at destabilizing black people. In fact, it's almost a science. And in fact, they know that it's so ugly and detrimental that they don't want their hands on it. So guess what they do to destabilize black families? You guessed it. They send black people. Got it. But am I drifting again? I must be drifting. Destabilization. My bad. That was a cheap shot. Cheap shot. Cheap shot. Okay? That was a cheap shot. Not too cheap, though. I didn't call you by name. But they send other black folks to harm, hurt, and to destabilize other black people. See, I didn't know that until 2013. Now, I'm sure that the people above me knew, and the people around me knew, but they didn't want me to know. They wanted to act as though it was just happenstance. But it was much more than happenstance. But I'm drifting again. Destabilization. Who would go out of their way to destabilize anyone? And why? Now, I'm all about a little destabilization as a tactic of war, of warfare. There's absolutely no reason why the strategy or the tactic of destabilization wouldn't be used in warfare, and it is used in warfare. In fact, no other tactic at this point has been used since Vietnam. Since the Vietnam. We can start right there. What I'm saying is, the West does not seek victory when it goes to war. No. If you're waiting on the West to enter a war, any country in the West, and them to come out that war and say we won or we lost, well, you're gonna be waiting, because they're not capable of winning another ground war. There, I said it. I don't think they're even capable of winning a out ground war, boot for boot. In fact, I'm pretty much sure of it. This is why they have all of the technology. They throw big fiery rocks 1,000 miles that'll blow up in your house. They call them missiles with fancy names. Cruise missile, tomahawks, stinger, you name it. Some of them either, anyway, they throw big ass, fast, fiery rocks. They not so far from where they first started. See, listen. First they climbed out. First they climbed out of the cave. Okay. Then they found something to fight about. Normally, women and that piece of meat running by. Okay. They wasn't too goddamn smart. And then, wouldn't you know, one of them had decided he was sick of all this fist fighting, and he picked up a stick. At that point, it changed everything. The stick that the first caveman used to beat the other caveman would later become a club to once again to, to kill shit, mostly other men. Hey man, you guys are basic. I'm having at you because you're so rudimentary and basic. to this day, to this day, listen. It ain't very often that I man besmirch an entire species, but you, woof, golly, and from clubs into knives, and from knives into even longer knives. And then they made of those knives into flying knives, as in arrows. You guys never freaking stop. I'll tell you what, I tell you. Why don't we just blow everybody up at once? Would that make, would that then break, because you keep making incredibly newer and more efficient weapons. You just, the cat's meow. Goodness gracious. What's all this slow motion shit for? Can we just kill everybody all at once and be done? Because seems to me, you ain't going to rest until you do. You're sick as a species. Anyway, what you thought? I got lost in what I was saying. No. Mm-mm. Destabilization. So how do you destabilize? Well, it's easy. You mess with the food supply. Well, here's what I would do. First, I would look at how they living, what they do as a matter of routine. I wouldn't attack them. I would attack that, making their routine impossible for them to live, uh, go by, changing, forcing their routine and their pattern. Now that is the beginning of a damn good destabilization program. You can start almost anywhere. Actually, you can start anywhere. I'm not going to go around the primrose path, but and to give you step by step. But it's not that hard to do. But the more that I looked at my own situation and into a larger degree family situation and to a larger one, city and then state and then nation and then national leader, eventually I got to the devil. And that's when I seen it. The devil do the same shit. He just destabilized shit. He isn't capable of achieving victory. If he could achieve victory, why not just kill everybody good? Everybody who won't do wrong. Why won't he do it? It ain't like the people who don't do wrong or at least doesn't want to, is afraid of them and ain't gonna back down. Shit, these days they won't even run. I just watched 8 of them get chased down and caught and beheaded screaming Jesus. What the hell? So we know that it ain't that. So why don't he just complete the deal? Because he cannot do it. He needs help. He needs help. You know why he needs help? Because the devil wants to be loved. Who else is like that? Man, we could do this here. I got a whole another hour now, just off that oneness segue. Who else wants to do screwed up shit and still be loved and respected? Look at the social structure. Hint, 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 hint. Look at the so-called social structure or the social order. Hint, hint. But you would think that we care. And no matter how many times that we say we don't care what you do, when I say that we don't care, we literally don't care. We don't afford it even 5 seconds of thought. It's you who, since you don't believe that, or since you don't have a, you're not capable of having a fucking moment. You're not having, you're not capable of saying something and actually meaning it. So that's a problem for you. It's always been. It didn't just start yesterday, but I'd be the first to tell you, it don't come easy. However, we drifting again. Destabilization. Who would set out to destabilize an entire country? Its enemy. Who would set out to destabilize a city or a state? Its enemy. Who would set out to destabilize a family or a group or an individual? Its enemy. Its enemy. This is the part that most Americans refuse to accept, is that you got enemies. And your enemies will always keep you off balance. They never want you to ever fully function. Fully function. See, never. They want you to go through the motion like a routine, like you remember doing it yesterday, and so you're doing it again because you did it yesterday. You have created this pattern for yourselves, and you can't get that way without being conditioned. It is unnatural for man outside of sleeping and waking to have created this repetitive pattern in its own existence, which brings me back to the devil and the devil's playbook and those who go by the devil's playbook. See, it works. They wouldn't do it if it didn't work. It does work. However, every now and then, there are consequences. There are healthy consequences, repercussions to these types of activities. Overseas, they'll do it, and a bunch of wealthy and powerful people and their families end up dead. Guess what they call it? Blowback. We didn't intend for that to happen, but we all knew that if we had done that to that group or that person, that they were going to retaliate and try to kill everybody, and then they did. But don't act like you didn't expect that, because you did, because you're smart. You are analyst, and you're smart, and now everybody dead except you. You got away, the major planner and the plotter and the schemer. But everybody else who, man, couldn't run, who you talked to, who they knew, who they hung around, man, they went over through their damn Rolodex and hunted them all down. We know this to be a fact of geopolitical politics going back at least 150 years up until today. It happens. In fact, in the last 10 years of my life, if this was spy versus spy in the real world, in the real spy v spy game, man, I would have about 15 people dead. Not just dead, don't know where they went neither. Trust me. But it's not real spy versus spy. So they make open mistakes that that they think is good planning, but it's not. It's good planning because no one's out to really harm you in this spy versus spy game. But that doesn't work anywhere else. And I got to use the bathroom. Now, this day, I mean, this the this destabilization process has become the go-to for most of the Western militaries, Western politicians, Western, especially somewhere like this country, who have I think since 2000, since the year 2000, give or take, have engaged in over 250 foreign interventions. Think about that. going in into somebody else's land and and at the very least imposing their will upon another people. Imagine this by force, threat, coercion. Okay. Now, I said all of that to say this. What is the most destabilizing country in the world right now? If we anyone who follows of this already have the answer. Those of you who don't, Israel. Since 1948, actually since it was a brainchild of the Zionists, has always been a destabilizing factor wherever it goes. When will you get this through your head? All cultures are not the same. All ideologies are not the same. And secondly, if God would have wanted everybody in the same country, he would have put them there. Look what's happened since everybody went to first through trade, thousands of years ago, up until now. What have we gained from the cultures living amongst each other? The short answer is absolutely nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. What can you point? I always hear how one culture enlightens another, or I forget how they actually say it. Oh, enrichment. Enrichment. Where is the enrichment? Where is the non-corporate profit? It doesn't exist. It don't exist. As I speak, this country is not a country. It is a place, a geographical place where everyone lives to make money and to survive. That's it. In most cases, most of America don't even know their own neighbor, not by name. That's most of America. So where there is no glue, where there is no loyalty to each other, then there is no country. You are just a bunch of people on the same piece of land at the same time, governed by a government that you don't elect, because actually it's semi-democratic at best. At best, in a land that's pretty much controlled by moneyed interests, corporate interests until now. Until now. And these are interests that you have to understand. They don't mind hurting you. They don't mind hurting you. They don't mind causing you your livelihood. They don't mind blackballing you. They don't mind blacklisting you. They don't mind doing any vile thing that they can think of as long as it does two things: push forward their agenda and make them money. Outside of that, well, they ought to be considered beast, straight up beast, in that they don't care at all, at all. And that's why, and that's where I come in. See, I don't care either. I come in right about there. I don't care about them. I don't give a rat's ass about their power or their connections or their money or their husband or their wife or who they know or anything else or their culture or their religion. I simply don't give a rat's ass. I only care about what's wrong and what is right as it was written, as it was spoken. Let me just tell you young folk something, and you not so young folk or something. The idea of right and wrong existed before you were born, and your daddy was born, and your daddies, I'm getting running out of breath here, daddies, was born. And right didn't give a damn either. Right didn't give a damn in of their life or the life of their sons. Are their sons the sons? And it doesn't give a damn right now. Okay? Right does not give a damn. Sort of like evil don't. The only difference is right comes on with let's say a baseball bat, a enforcement mechanism. No one's asking if you're what you think is right or wrong. Yeah, please understand. We don't care. We are so far the past where you are in terms of the argument. We can say that you won. You won the argument. And we agree that there is no such thing as right, and there's no such thing as wrong. There's no such thing as good, and there's no such thing as evil. The only difference is you will then be dying for absolutely no reason at all. You will call wrong right, well then you will die righteously. See, this is what you're not getting. You won the argument. There is no right. There is no wrong. Or right is where God end and man begin, or however you think. But here's my point. We don't care about your idea of right and wrong. If you think that murdering 4,000 women and other children is a righteous action, well, then we shall be killing your ass righteously. It's not a problem for us. See, this is the part you keep missing. This is the part you keep missing. You think you're living by man's standards. No, you're not. No, you're not at all. No, at this point, I'm not going to go all the way out on the limb. I'm not going to even go up the tree. I'm going to stand by the tree. No, you're not. You living by our standard now. Okay? And the minute that we don't like what you do, I mean, if it's harming others or harming um, families and other tribes and other governments, then or you make yourself a god, which is a threat. If you make yourself an organized principality, which is a threat, an organization of any kind done in secrecy is a threat, then we shall be coming for you. Oh, by the way, they, man, they tell me fentanyl traffic coming across the U.S. border with Mexico have dropped by half since Trump took office. Mr. Cartel member, we might not have to have this fight at all. At all. See, again, we don't give a fuck what you do. It's how you do it. But once you started killing us and you started talking stupid shit about it's not your fault, who got hooked on drugs and who don't, and that we need no, I'll just come kill you. Then we don't have to argue with you. Not just you, but look around you, because I want you to really fucking understand what I'm saying here. We don't care about you at that point. You have lost your humanity. Those who don't feel empathy, sympathy, understanding, or compassion, you're already dead, and I will treat you like an animal. You're already dead. Okay? You already have lost your humanity. So when you say things like, in the face of all the death that this chemical has caused, and by the way, who who makes something that if you so much as pick up a tablet of it, you can die? Who makes this shit and for what? Well, that's for a whole another argument. But that person need a special treatment. We'll just be calling it long-term care. We have a whole battery of things we can do to him to make him realize where he effed up at. But anyway, back to you. At the moment that you shirk your responsibility or you justify it because you can't conquer your own shit, your own inner consciousness or your own demons, and you start to justify that bullshit by saying stupid shit like it's not our fault that the Americans are man hooked on drugs. Well, it's your fault that you make the drug. It's your fault that you traffic it. It's your fault that if someone 15, 16, 17 years old, for the lack of wisdom and fucking maturity and knowledge, die. Okay? So whose fault is it? Since it's no one's fault, we're going to make it your fault. We're going to make it your fault because your hands is all over it. See? We'll see the blue pills inside the baggies. We'll see your Latin American Spaniard face. We may hear the shit that you be talking. And we hear all of this. So, and here's where you really fucked up. You made yourself untouchable. That means you are a principality. That means you are godlike, and now I can take your ass out. It's just like checking off the boxes. Check, 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 and check. So don't you believe that you are worthy? You are worthy. Think of it that way. Fix your face. Listen, you're looking mad and then sad. Fix your face. This means that you have been found worthy of our attention, our personal attention. So now you have it. So now you have it. But even the cartels are quiet, aren't they? Aren't they? And I ain't mad. I ain't mad, B, because the fentanyl has dropped by 50%. And I know that wasn't the work of the Mexican government or the Mexican police or the Mexican military. You done outran all them. You done spread yourself throughout. Man, you spread yourself so freaking far, they group you up into regions and fucking corridors. Now, that is some kind of infiltration. You should be proud of yourself. You should be proud of yourself. Imagine this out of a bunch of what they call eighth graders who only go to the eighth grade. You educated to the eighth grade and you did all of this. All of this. Be proud of yourselves. But don't fuck with us. Ever. So the moment that you think that your drug can kill black people and you talk shit, well, we're probably going to come talk to you. But we're not going to come talk to you like that. See, you used to bullets and arguments. No. We'll just wipe out that whole fucking area. Okay? We'll wipe out everything within 10 miles of the fucking border into Mexico and destroy everything on both sides. You get what I'm saying? You understand what you're up against now. But again, we don't have a dog. We don't have a beef anymore. Good work. Good work. You are more religious and more man believing than I would have ever guessed because you understand what you're up against. Now, you had many options. This is how I know that you're smart. You had other options. I shouldn't have to go down the list. You had other options, and you chose to help us help you by reducing the amount of fentanyl coming into the United States. That means we don't have to come and kill all of you, because that was the next move. We're going to try to kill all of you now. We don't give a rat's ass what the name of the cartel is. We're going to try to kill all of you and your mothers and your children and your wives and your uncles and your damn friends. But none of that is necessary anymore. See, I think that half of y'all found God anyway. That's what I'm leaning toward. Half of you done found God and realized He's not playing with us. He will come kill us. Yes. Yes, I'll strike up a storm there, strike up a wind here, a couple of a few fires over here, and we'll just wipe the whole goddamn area clean, and it won't be livable for 3 to 5 years. How about that? But again, that ain't necessary because you turned out to be decent people. And I'm starting to wonder, how did you end up in cartels and gang members and shit? Did somebody break your heart? Were you traumatized as a child? Or maybe you were unloved. I mean, I know what you went through because I felt unloved too. But I'm just saying, is that how you end up from baby to bouncing baby girl, bouncing baby boy, to doting mother or doting father or both to outright gangsterism? I'm just trying to see the fucking pathology here. Will someone explain the Hispanic pathology? Because I'm lost right now. Lost. Don't get upset with me. Don't get upset. But you can, it won't, but there's no reason for you to. I'm saying I don't understand how you go from that to this, into that, and to ever burgeoning connections and a network of fucking criminality to the point that you can convince each other that you're not responsible and you can't be stopped. You know how many people have to get together in like mind to even think that way? So I know that it be because one man ain't gonna never think that way. 50 million ain't gonna never think that way. Shit, I can 200 million ain't gonna think that way. So you're morphed into thousands of members. Each one of you individually weak as fuck. But put together and you are a mass force. I get it. I get it. And I ain't mad at you. But I'm just saying though, bro, listen, certain lines you can't cross anymore. You just can't. We don't give a fuck about you selling dope. We don't give a fuck about your other trafficking. You would be surprised at the things that we don't care about. We just don't care about it because most of it has a these are non-victim crimes. Victim crimes. We shouldn't have to babysit other people who want to be somewhere so bad that they're willing to pay somebody and to risk their life to be there. And a good 6% of them lose their life. Then they wind up here trapped in man never ending debt and in sex trafficking. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. So I ask again, how the hell gone from bouncing baby boy into this? Man, please consider who's asking this question. A slave. A slave. Keep that in mind. How you go from there to there? And again, I'm not just trying to insult you. I'm trying to understand you. Because again, I don't understand how you can feel like someone's death with the drug you just gave them ain't your fault. I don't know how you get there in your head. Now, under normal circumstances, if this was one of my family members and they wind up dead off some bad dope, and I know it's you probably not going to be breathing too much longer after that. In fact, it's safe to say you're not going to be breathing too much longer after that. But that's so insignificant. We are talking about hundreds of thousands dead off of one puff, gone. And no one knows. And no one knows. It just sneak up on them, and next thing they know, they are officially dead off of one puff of one joint. Now you explain that shit to me. And how you would not see that as evil. But then again, I understand that part. I really do understand that part though. Because in this country, you have to remember there is no evil and there is no good, which is where I come in and I want to be judged by the same standard. I'm neither evil, I'm neither good, I'm neither righteous, but every time that I want to do what I want to do, well then it's quick to, I mean, it is quickly judged. They went so far as to say they went, man, listen here. Trust me, it is judged. Like, what kind of person does that? I mean, what kind of representative of God talk like this? I mean, do that type of thing. You'd be surprised at what I'm capable of. I, once you get past, um, that you can kill a lot of people at the same time, then you pretty much it just becomes rather a a unsaid proposition. We just understand these things. No one have to say it. But back to them people south of the border. Listen, man, ain't nobody playing with y'all. Or is it north? I forget. But ain't nobody playing. Listen, we don't care what you do. Whatever the deals, understandings that you have with whoever you have them with, we're not trying to interrupt your flow of money or mess with your business. You are in our business now. You are in our business. We know that a large portion of the money being spent in the black neighborhoods are through drug cartels, organized criminal activity. We know this. We know this for a fact. For a fact. So again, you fucked with us. We didn't fuck with you. Understand this. And you didn't listen. It ain't that type of party. Like I said, I'm proud of you. Cut it half again. It didn't take you but 6, 7 weeks to cut that shit in half. Why? Why? Because you believe, fool. Because you believe. And I'm going to tell you, don't let the devil fool you. And nobody else. Nobody ever wants to end up on the wrong side of God. Don't let nobody out there tell you this. It is a lie. Even the most evil man. Um, I'm talking about, and I've met some evil men. They don't want to be on the other side of it. And neither do you. That much is obvious, or you would have exercised your other options. So we don't have to kill each other. You should be proud because my plan was absolutely to kill as many of you as I could in one spot at the same time. So we both dodged the bullet. I get to dodge being scared for at least a week, waiting on man God's reply as to my action. Sometimes he has a reply that I'm not too sure of after the fact. I, I would like for him to stop me before I indulge. But sometimes it comes back to this, well, why'd you do that? Then I don't never have a damn good answer because no answer I could ever give God and you will ever suffice. So I'm left there with egg on my face, half scared and not happening and not knowing what's going to happen next. But it's not going to be one of those times, is it? Because I'm not going to have to do it. And the winds can rest and the clouds can rest. We don't have to send things sideways at you. And like I've been saying for the last 3, 4 weeks, the mountains are no sanctuary. Okay? I think you got the message at that point. Thank you. No blood on my hands. Once again, victory without blood. Victory without blood is the best victory of all. It's the best victory of all. If you knew how much death was on my hands in the last 3 to 5 years, then maybe going back 10, then you'd understand what I'm saying. Okay? I am guilty as fuck when it comes to that. I don't use bullets and shit because I don't have to. If I want your ass gone and the elements agree and the angels agree, then your ass is gone. It's simple. Whatever technique that the universe chooses is up to them. But a decision has been undertaken, but not so you. Now, maybe we can help each other. See, you think of things humans. I'm looking at your organization. I'm looking at how vast it is. I'm looking at your capabilities of infiltration. I'm looking at your influence amongst your population. See, I'm seeing you different than you even see yourselves. So what good can you be to the service of God? Is where I'm going with this. How can we make you good? How can we make you of use? Ain't that something? I ask, how can we make you of use? to our big scheme of things, which is to kill all evil. And from the looks of it, you pretty good at fucking killing. I mean, you. There's certain people upon the planet as groups that are highly efficient at killing, sir. And your group be one of them. They found graves everywhere, mass graves, underground graves, bodies inside of caves. I've even seen bodies set up on both sides of the highway, sitting in lawn chairs, all of them dead for at least a mile. Sir, how can we use you? And how can you use us? Do we have business? Do we have business? Or do we not? See, business doesn't always have to be violent. See how quick that shit changed? Just last week, I was studying up. How how am I gonna hurt you bad? Because I'm about to hurt you bad, real bad. Then we start the twisting and the turning and the different scenarios and factors and possibilities and the variables change. And then I come across you have you have cut the trafficking by half. So you believe. So you believe. Now we're gonna leave that with last words right there. You believe. Okay? Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. I am Source. I am Seven. I am One.